Call to order the meeting of the Board of Supervisors of the town of Sevastopol for Monday, June 17 at 7 o'clock. I'll ask that you rise with me and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Have a roll call to establish a quorum.
Supervisor Weidman.
Here.
Supervisor Tice.
Here.
Chairman Zipperer.
Here.
Supervisor Wolfel.
Here.
And Supervisor Stabenus.
Here.
We do have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is a meet and greet, and we do have a public participation this evening. It comes to us that our videographer and his people who help put on the various videos within the town and outside of the town received recognition for the year 2012, was it?
Yes.
And Laddie Chapman, who is the videographer for the town, will make the presentations, and they're all on display, and he'll handle it from here on in.
Okay. Can't see what I'm doing, so I hope I'm on camera. We have 5 awards that our station won, and some of the participants of the videos, besides myself, are here to receive some of them. We have, let's see, we have one award that Pat Judy is going to accept for the Lumberjack Supper at the Methodist Church. That was, these are all from last year, of course. Pat, if you would like to receive the plaque and look at your audience right there and stay right there, and these are also for you. And then Dennis Connolly helped with 2 videos, and one of them is the Jacksonport Polar Bears, and the other one was the Garden Door. And we're going to give him some certificates here because that's what he said he wanted. Is that what you want? Okay. Hold those up. Okay, stick around for a second. And then last but not least, Denise Plasmeyer is the recipient of an award of achievement for the Sevastopol Dairy Breakfast. And this is also, not only is it an achievement, but it was also considered to be the best in show. There were 3 best in shows in this contest, and this was one of them. So Denise, you said you would like a plaque, and you also get these. Okay, for framing. Anybody want to join me here and have a publicity shot?
Maybe a plaque.
Okay. And
All right, thank you.
Nice job. Saw some of those videos. Some of you people are overly articulate. Awfully good.
That's a good thing, right?
Okay, we'll go through the people that are here on introduction. Way on my right is our clerk treasurer, Linda Waite, and we'll introduce ourselves as we come along.
Supervisor Dick Whiteman. Supervisor Chuck Tice.
Chairman Leo Zipperer.
Supervisor Dan Wolfel.
Supervisor John Stabenus.
And you've already met Pat and Dennis.
Justin McDowell, the Investigator Chief.
And
Denise
we
Plasmeyer.
met.
Victoria Saranich. I'm here as an observer for the League of Women Voters. I'm a resident of Sevastopol, and I do have an inquiry about the letter delivered from the League of Women Voters last month. I was unable to be here, but it was regarding a pesticide use within the public areas of Sevastopol.
Okay.
Steve Lobenstein, Town of Sevastopol resident, owner, co-owner, Grandma Thomas Country Store.
Kate Lobenstein or Brandon Thomas.
Okay, and the showman was already on the video, so. All right, we thank you all for showing up. The agenda has been properly noticed.
It has been.
The motion then to approve or adopt.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made with a second. I don't see anything else earth shaking or shattering. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Approval of the minutes going back to May 20, 2013. We'll take them individually. First was the initial board of review is very short. Procedurally, we go through it to establish the fact that we do have the board of review, and then we adjourn to such time as whenever the assessment role is completed. Need a motion to approve May 20, 2013.
Move to approve Monday, May 20, 2013 Board of Review minutes.
Okay, I'll second that. No further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Uh-oh, $25 bill just rang up.
I don't know what's up with these ones today.
All right, then we go.
These might be a bit high. Turn it down.
All right, we're going down to May 20, 2013 would be the Board of Supervisors minutes. I'll need a motion to accept those.
So move.
Second.
Corrections, additions, alterations? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And then the last one would be May 23. Special Board of Supervisors meeting first at 8 o'clock. And that would be the original application for discussion of alcohol beverage license for the golf club, the MC Golf Club LLC. And then the next one was Thursday on the 23 at 8:30. And that was our special meeting for a tour of the roads. We opened with a pre-discussion to determine the route and the items that we're going to look for. On the back side of that was the actual road tour. What we're going to be looking for, the roads we're going to check. Need a motion to accept all those from May 23.
So move. Second.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The three of us said vote, the other two must be taken up.
I said aye.
Then we do have the financial report. May 2013 budget versus actual. And the balances and the transactions by date through May 2013. If there are no questions, we'll accept them and place them on file, unless someone cares to make a motion. Onward and upward, let's go to the vouchers, bills, and claims for May 20 through June 17.
Move to approve the vouchers, bills, and claims.
Okay, we've all had a copy.
Yes.
You saw the actual bills?
Yes.
Is that the bills then?
I think they were all signed, well, maybe not everybody.
Okay.
Dick might not have the rest of it, I think.
I handed them to Dick, I don't know. Okay, do we have a motion to,
Got a motion.
Maybe no second, though. Was there a second?
Not yet.
I'll second it.
okay. Let's approve the vouchers, bills, and claims through June 17. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Pending business, status, discussion, action. Now let's back up. Do we have any oral committee reports or committee minutes that we want to speak about?
Just on the comprehensive plan committee, we met with Mariah Good and Kay Miller, and we're moving forward. They're gonna give us some more information. We're gonna try to set a date for a public hearing. So now they're gonna get us some more maps, and then we're gonna go back and review it next month and follow through with that, so.
Any discussion on the distance?
It's from the center of Institute, we use the school, and it's 1 mile radius from the school. What did we use from Valmy? The laundromat, I think. wasn't it?
Laundromat on the hill in Valmy, and then
And
1
then
mile from
one-
the city limits.
But it's not is it really a radius?
It's a
versus
circle, yes.
Radius.
And
yes.
anybody's property that is in that radius will be invited to the public hearing. So, and then they will give us feedback whether they want to be in or out, so.
Okay, very good. Do we have any others?
The annual meeting for the Door County Tourism Zone Commission is going to be Thursday, June 20th, 9 a.m. The community room at the City of Sturgeon Bay's municipal building. Our next meeting will be July 18 at Sevastopol there with the full commission.
Okay, going on to pending business, the status, discussion, and action in Door County Coastal Byways Kiosk.
Okay, everybody should have a copy of the signed lease. There's a couple of addendums to it. They're exhibits. One is the site map showing our location on the property on the corner of 4257 and Forest Road. There may need to be some adjustment in the actual location of the sign due, following the outcome of the meeting on the 28th with the DOT. Should they decide to do any work with Forest Road, we may be forced to move over a little bit, but we would still be within our designated area there. Right now, the concrete 18 by 20 pad is right at the line. The panels are, the draft of the panels are on the board there for everybody to look at. Suggestions, corrections, and that need to be made soon so that they can be turned in and fabrication can start. We've already got the metal wave roof delivered, the poles have been delivered, the sign frames have been delivered. Steve and I are going to meet tomorrow and work out the construction plans, and we're ready to start building at any time. We can have the actual kiosk set up and waiting for the panels. We were told once these panels are turned in, we have to wait for a couple other communities, but we were given about a 6-week lead time on them. So
6 weeks.
Things should start moving along here real fast.
All right.
Blacktopping has already been done, so the parking stalls are already in. The survey has been done, the legal agreement has been drawn up, so we're moving right along now.
Chuck, is that the actual size of the panel in the center?
Those are full scale, right. The one large one and one small one. The two large ones go back to back, and the two small ones go back to back, so.
Okay, Dick, you had a comment?
Yeah, I would hope to see that Sevastopol School somehow fits into the historical section there. We have a paragraph prepared, we have a script prepared, and picture ready to go, so.
Well, any corrections or changes would be made tonight, and they will be presented to the Schmeekler Company, and
When were you going to,
as soon as possible.
as soon as possible?
Within the next couple of days, we need to have the information and the pictures that need to be changed, notify them, they will redraw the draft.
No, we can leave you the digital copy of the photo tonight.
Weren't you guys in,
High-resolution digital copy of a photo that they could reproduce, right?
wasn't the school included in the original, or what happened?
The
Somebody?
school was mentioned, but somebody dropped the ball and never came forward with the
script.
written information or the photographs, so,
What does it replace something?
pardon?
Will it replace something on here, or,
Well,
I mean, given the
I don't think it would replace, it might just reduce some sizes there, and,
I think probably in the historical section, Cherryland USA might, because the school district goes back to 1923.
it
so.
still all depends how many changes are made tonight, or, in the next day, or, so far, I guess, Linda, we've only got 2, the school, and
And
a
the
little more
farming,
information about farming, but
Since it is
the
critical.
farming was not a picture, it was just a little more addition to the paragraph under
Some verbiage.
the farm.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking at a picture of Sevastopol School and a brief
Yeah,
summary
paragraph,
of it.
right,
I'm sure we can squeeze that in there somewhere.
I'm sure.
Okay, you're gonna deliver that to Chuck, or? how
Yes,
you
we
gonna
can
handle it?
deliver it tonight, I think.
Okay.
You have a picture?
Well, I do have, this
I've
is
got the
what.
script.
Okay, so whatever we receive before the turning out the lights tonight will be included? Yeah,
I hope so.
We'll try to get it included.
okay.
Yeah, we could send that.
Could send it to
Send
me.
that as an email, yeah, and a digital picture.
Mhm.
Okay. Right, we can send it right to them.
Are you gonna be able to photograph that and put it up for? All right, thank you. And thanks to Kate and Steve for their joining in the venture and allowing us to occupy their space at Grandma Tommy's. Hopefully it works out well.
Steve has been very helpful in collecting the workers, reducing the costs of getting this project done.
Very good.
May I say something?
Sure.
Sure, go ahead.
Dick, I want to thank you for bringing up Sevastopol schools. It should be on there. There are a lot of people in this community that don't Sevastopol have a past history with it. I know my mother and father, they went to grade school there, they went to high school. My kids went to high school, grade school, so I think that's a great idea. There's one more comment I do have, if I may, is when you say "you are here," could we put, and I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking this, but could we put something like Town of Sevastopol? Something "you are here," or something that rectifies it and says that this is the Town of Sevastopol.
On top of that, there is.
Well, that is the town up there, but.
Okay, then maybe not needed.
Could put it bigger letters.
You can only put, when we deal with the Schmeekler Company,
They have done this for years, and their information or from them is you clutter the signs up too much, nobody will read them. You can't make the picture so small, the writing so small that you can't see it, but you don't want to clutter the signs up, so you put just brief information, several pictures, a highlight in the middle. We wanted to put on the GPS coordinates of the locations, but even that got to be too complicated in the the first map back there of Door County, where you could have just programmed in your GPS and you could have drove to each one of these things. We felt that the signs themselves are very noticeable, very distinct, so there'd be no need for that.
Okay, well, thanks again for your working with us, or working with Chuck anyway, and getting this thing all together.
Anybody wants to get their picks and shovels and tools ready, we'll give you a call.
Hey, Chuck?
I'll know better after the meeting tomorrow. We've got to get some plans drawn up for construction of the foundations and that, and working on some measurements yet. I would think within the next couple of weeks, we'd probably start some type of construction.
Dan?
Just a couple thoughts. I know the Door County Visitors Bureau did something on an app that they had for smartphones. I forget what it's called, but I know I've seen it. Is there any chance they might be interested in doing something with the GPS coordinates of those things within not only ours, but for that matter, the entire byway, where they could put together a pamphlet that would have that, and you could stick it next to these kiosks in certain places that said, here's those coordinates that you're talking about? They might
Check
be
into it.
They might be in
That'll work.
favor of that. But anyway,
Okay.
I have one more comment. I don't know if I should be saying this now or after the meeting or whatever, but on the script that we have where it says, Tom's Roadside Market, it says John and Tony Tananovich came to Door County from Yugoslavia. I was wondering if they could put Zoplin in there, and in the early 1920s. This is just my comments.
You want to add the date?
I would like to put, if possible, Zoplin, Yugoslavia, and after Yugoslavia in the early 1920s. Because that's when they originated in Door County. That's possible. If not, if it takes too much script out,
Well, give
that's
it,
fine.
give it to writing, give it in writing to Chuck, and
Okay.
he can work on it. All right.
One thing on the business card, when they put the picture of your business card there, they actually tried the phone number and it actually worked. Somebody answered. So they had to take the phone number off of the card. That's why it's missing on that little business card there.
Okay, pending business, moving on. Clark Lake launch and the ramp. Status, Dan?
really unfortunate that there's no change. We expected the work to begin on June 2nd, and I had that date confirmed with Mike Carr at the construction company. But as it turned out, the company that did the precast concrete panels said the panels had not cured. So I don't know if that means they'd actually poured them that day and they needed 2 weeks to cure or whatever, but they had told Mike that they needed to be cured before they could be installed. So he backed it up 2 weeks. It was expected that they would have started it last week, but as of Thursday when I talked to Mike, he's still not had the status of the concrete panels. So he did not get back to me before tonight's meeting because he did not hear from them. At least that was his conversation. We did, at his expense, reinstall the pier to accommodate the people on the, at the boat launching site, so their feet will be dry. And at his expense, he will have it taken out and reinstalled when the concrete ramp is completed. So we're kind of on hold. I'm hopeful that I hear back from him and that happens this week or at the latest next week. I don't know what else could hold it up. But it's usable, it's been patched, and the pier's there, so they can at least make use of the site, and hopefully we get it completed quickly and move on to something else.
Okay. So in the meantime, the metal launch stays. And
Yes.
okay, the next item would be the first responder group agreement, mutual aid agreement, and insurance coverages, and this has been floating around for a while. It has to do with our EMTs, EMRs, the County of Door. Our insurance, workers' compensation insurance, and a whole cluster of other items that surfaced over a couple of injuries that occurred with the EMTs, EMT units, not in our particular group. However, it did have an effect on the entire process. And John is an EMT, and we also have Justin McDonald, who is the head of our EMT group, first responder group. So I'm going to ask them to bring forward their concerns. And although the county would like to, the Corporation Council would like to have some kind of response tonight, either we're going to accept the mutual agreement and or the other things that he is asking for. And I think between the two of you, you can hit the highlights as far as what the draws and what the pluses are. So John, if you want to start off.
Oh. Way back when, they paid us $5 a year to give us insurance, and now this new memorandum, they don't want, it seems like they don't want really anything to do with us unless they need us. They want to shed all liability, but they want to make sure that we have very high insurance for our vehicles so that they don't get in trouble. It's just, I don't know, they just don't, they want an agreement with the groups, and they don't want to somewhat acknowledge that we're even around for, if it costs them any money. So there was a nice write-up in the paper about that they praised us for being a wonderful, a well-oiled machine, and now they, when it comes to money, they don't want anything to pay out or be a part of it, so.
I can address that part of it only because I'm on the insurance committee for the county. The biggest problem that we do have is the county of Door cannot provide insurance for the towns or the villages or anyone else. They can do it for their employees, but they can't do it for the town of Sevastopol or anyone individually. We realize the fact that there was an agreement out there going back in resolution form some while ago establishing the EMRs or the, back then, first responder groups. And through the years, we were operating on the assumption that everything was 100% and that there was adequate coverage,
Right.
insurance-wise. And then as the insurance committee got going and we started looking into it, we found out that that was not true.
Yeah, I think it was about probably 10 years ago when they stopped paying us our annual fee of $5 a year. So
One time that resolution was going to circumvent the idea of whether or not you were employed by giving you that $5 a year, which was, I don't even know if that was legal, however.
as far as we're concerned, we were under the assumption that the county was still paying
Yeah.
for insurance. And then with the recent incidents, we found out that they weren't.
So coming from that is the automatic and the mutual aid agreement, which is rather specific, but yet I don't really know if I like it. I don't know if you would like it as a responder. But we had our attorney here earlier today for our Board of Adjustment. And he had a hand in putting it all together, and he was satisfied with it, working with the Corporation Council. So you as individuals are the people that are going to tell us whether or not it's a good idea.
Well, the mutual aid agreement is a good idea because the goal of the whole thing is to save somebody's life, and if there's a first responder out of Southern Door, or I'm working up north someplace, if my pager goes off and I'm right there, I could just go and help. And that would cover everybody that isn't in their own town to the, with all the insurance, so. And it would, you know, I mean, we've had people from Southern Door that have been driving through and they heard the page and, you know, we're more than willing to have the help if we need it. If we don't, then they just get back in their car and go, so. You got
Okay.
anything to add, Justin?
Justin, good.
Currently, that agreement has been signed by all except of Washington Island, Jacksonport, Sevastopol, and Southern Door. It's right now in the hands of Bev Wadier in or in Brussels. It was signed, I believe, Brussels and Union last week, and I think Gardner tonight, or vice versa. So it's going around almost completely signed, just awaiting certain few municipalities that, you know, it would just cover us so much better that, you know, like John's works up north quite a bit, and we're all over the place. In terms of the county's agreement, the group agreement, I would table that yet until, I was talking with several other crew chiefs up north, and none of them have signed it yet. Some of the wording in there is, you know, pretty strong, and I know Chris Hecht has made mention that to one of his supervisors that sits on their fire board in Sister Bay, that maybe they need to redo a little bit of the wording in the agreement to not say you shall provide us information, you know, just some different wording. And I don't have the agreement in front of me. Typically in the past, the first responder organizations, if we fall under the county for the protocols, new protocols have come out within the last several months with the new director and assistant director. And the first responders are not included in any of the protocols. Supposedly there's supposed to be our own set of protocols, but none of us have seen it yet. You know, I just have a hard time, you know, I can't remember if that's in that agreement or not, but you know, if we're to follow their protocols somewhere, I'd like to have picture them and see them first and read through them before we sign anything, you know.
Okay. Dick, you had a...
Can the first responders survive as a standalone group? Or, because I mean, looking through the county agreement, it almost seems like that's what they're asking you to do, is to...
We gotta have medical direction, and that's.
So you can't, I mean, by nature of your accreditation, you cannot be a standalone.
We can seek our own medical direction. That it was discussed last week briefly at a county fire chiefs meeting, that if it came down to it, we can seek our own medical direction. There's nothing that says we have to go under the medical direction the county operates under. We can have a medical director from outside the state if that's what we wish. But, you know, that...
So financially...
Who's going to pay for him? Yeah,
That's the other thing. Who would pay to be medical director?
We get paged out by the sheriff's department, and we work with the county paramedics, and we're the Sevastopol first responders, so. Or EMRs, that's right. Yeah.
How can one agreement stand without the other one? The mutual aid, I understand the mutual aid agreement, but if you don't have the county agreement, you no longer are in business. They're not gonna page you out any longer. So what good is?
Chris Hecht and I had that conversation today. I go, from the last county agreement, group agreement, Egg Harbor refused to sign it. And at the very end, the county sent them a cease and desist letter, basically, that you will not provide service. And they ended up signing it, but somewhere along the line, I would believe if that happened,
Now, hold it. You're saying way too much. If there was any kind of cease and desist, it only meant we're not going to provide you with the medical director. Okay, it's an important thing. The ambulance is still coming.
The ambulance will always come.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
but I think the county would shoot themselves in the foot if they would stop paging us. I mean, I would be certain, you know, I mean, I would very certainly see the taxpayers go, well, you know, we fund this organization, why aren't they coming? You know, I mean, somewhere along the line, I think that.
I think it'll get worked out, just that we've got too many issues going too many different ways, and everybody has their own opinion, and it's hard to get them all together, and I'm with Justin. I think we just hold off on the agreement with the county, and then if you guys are happy with that mutual aid thing, we allow that to go on, and if you think it's gonna work, it'll work.
Yes. It works well with the fire departments. I mean, they're, you know, all mutual aid, so. I know I have Egg Harbor, Jacksonport, and Sevastopol tones in my pager. And some of those Jacksonport calls I'm closer to than some of the Sevastopol calls way down by you, so.
Yeah, if you get one down by me, make sure you should.
Bring the defib.
Isn't the bigger issue here the coverage, the insurance coverage, which the more I read, I don't understand.
It's after the fact, yeah.
Right.
What brought this all to a head was whether or not there was any workers' compensation insurance involved, because these guys are volunteers, not getting paid. Who's gonna provide the coverage if in the event you have a disabling injury? You know, it doesn't have to be permanent, but it could be for 3-4 months.
Right.
And I agree, I mean, I understand that, I don't have an issue, but when I look at the numbers, and I don't know whose numbers are whose anymore, but if they're saying it's gonna cost us $9.59 per $100 of an individual responder's pay, all right, now, just for conversation's sake, Justin's making $100,000, and John's making 80, okay, whatever.
What the heck?
I don't know. My point is simply, each first responder is gonna have a different income requirement. Would that
Well,
not be correct, or is it?
No, there's a minimum.
Okay.
There's a $1,560 minimum, I think.
Right,
for
so
the
you're
payroll.
saying,
So I would say, everybody that is there is probably about $1,000 under that.
I think Linda has a really good handle on
go
it.
ahead, 'cause I'm-
She's the only one that paid
Workers-
attention at the meeting.
Well, first of all, workers' compensation is in effect right now for our first responders.
Right.
When we came out of that meeting, Del Herbold, our insurance agent, said, I am binding coverage, and we will even out on the premium either later this year. When the audit is complete, we compare actual payroll versus budgeted payroll. I won't know that until after July. So he'll either bill us then, or it'll be billed next year with next year's premium. Roughly, the workers' compensation insurance is $150 per responder, okay? So times 16 or 17, $2,300 per year, I believe, is what Dell told us it would be.
Right.
And the workers' compensation that the coverage that we're providing is based on what we pay our first responders, not on the $100,000 that Justin is making somewhere else. So it's based on what we pay our first responders. It's a minimum of $1,595 or $1,565. So,
if they got injured, they would get $1,565 a month under workers' comp coverage.
well, the $1,565 is annual. That's based on an annual salary. Now, when it comes to actual payments out of workers' compensation insurance, I don't know what the payment would be to the first responder, but we would have our base salary covered by the workers' compensation premium.
Okay, which brings
I don't
me-
know what the workers' compensation payment to an injured party would be
Okay,
from
that's where I was
from the
going.
town.
Because
Yeah.
my understanding of their issue is that, they obviously make more than $1,565 a year. So how are they ever gonna calculate what it is if one of them got injured? And I think we're underpaying, undercovering and underpaying. And so I think that's somewhere we have to figure out what, if one of these people got hurt, what the actual policy would pay them based on what?
What they do is
It's right there.
they go back to
What, it's $1,560 a year?
You can only cover them for the capacity,
Dave?
what they are the duties they are performing, you can't go beyond that. The insurance is based on the job or whatever they're doing. It's not based on anything else.
They're looking for coverage, I believe anyway, from your regular full-time job.
Well, yeah.
You get injured on a volunteer job and can't go to work tomorrow, you're going to lose money. This insurance is not going to cover that,
That's exactly my point.
correct?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, going back, that's the same, I'm on the same page as all of you are so far. The question then comes back to what happens to the 16 or 17 EMRs? Is that number, as best we know it today, is that going to resolve this issue, or is it going to just be back next month?
Well, what I was under the impression of is they take a comparable thing. Like, they would compare us with, say, a full-time fireman down in Sturgeon Bay, and we would get that rate. Or they would try to find the closest thing to what we are. You know, our unique situation is because we don't have a full-time fire department, so, in Sevastopol. So I think a lot of the other ones are going under the fire departments, somewhat to be covered.
Well, you can, provided you're a firefighter. And if you're not a firefighter, you can't be there.
Right.
You cannot be an EMT without being a certified firefighter.
So they wouldn't pay you the $1,500 a year.
We know the upper
This
limit
is-
is not very high.
Premium can't be based on anything other than the salary, the income you are getting from the job you were performing at the time.
Well, I might make a little bit more money at the phone company than
Well, yeah,
$1,500,
so I
like I'm
mean,
saying.
the premium obviously is gonna have to reflect that,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And
That premium is set by the state of Wisconsin. So much per thousand, right?
Right.
Well, that wage of $15.95 or what it was, you know,
So if you're gonna cover somebody for
based on our,
50,000,
right.
okay,
That's
so
what that's that $1,560 is what they would say our payroll is, and that's why
correct.
we would pay $9
And 50 cents
and
Per
50
thousand,
cents
yeah.
per 100.
or per 100.
So it's,
okay, so let's just say for conversation's sake, because I think there's just too many unknowns in this scenario. Let's say that tomorrow morning, Linda, you call Dell and tell him that John got injured on a call. He's gonna file for workers' compensation. What's he gonna get?
I don't know.
I
And
mean, I
I'm
know
not
you
sure
don't know, but-
anybody knows.
But someone has to be able to determine that, and I guess that's my point. You know, we ought to know what that is gonna be, and if it satisfies their itch, and if it doesn't, is it gonna are we gonna be able to pay whatever it is that
well,
they have as a
when he was here,
requirement?
he did say that you would be compared to the nearest thing. The closest that, there's, there are no full-time EMRs. So we would either have to be compared to a full-time EMT, or we would have to be compared to a full-time firefighter, and then you would get that wage. But what they would compare to, I don't know.
Okay, so if you're happy, then I'm happy. We don't need to pursue it.
Well, nobody can really give you an answer, though, what they're gonna correctly,
Right.
compare you to.
Yeah,
so.
hopefully not, it's never gonna be needed, but.
Well,
I
right,
agree.
I agree, but
Okay.
it does happen.
Just
I mean, we don't wanna be out, you don't wanna have people out there that are just gonna,
Yeah, I'm with
go
you.
and have an accident and then lose their livelihood.
I'm with you.
Because
I'm just-
every one of us has a different full-time job too, so. And if we don't get something out there, I'm worried that we're gonna lose a lot of good first responders, EMTs, that are just gonna say, well, it isn't worth it, so.
And maybe look into the job that Justin's got, because it's pretty good pay.
Pretty lucrative.
Yeah.
I didn't get paid that much when I was crew chief.
All right.
I think the contract agreement that the county is asking for is, the cost of those insurances they're requiring far exceed the pay or the stipend that any EMT or EMR would ever receive. I mean, it's a little ridiculous to demand that type of insurance without coming up with some kind of support to help pay for it.
Right, on your vehicle, you mean? On the vehicle?
Right.
Yeah. That's a big hang up, because it's like,
And you're
you don't want
required
anything to do
use
with
your
us,
own
you wanna
vehicle,
clean,
and-
you wanna have liability, everything, but you want us to have, I forget what it is, it's like 100, 300, 100. I mean, there-
Liabilities that.
There's some people that can afford that, but then there's also some first responders or EMTs that can't afford that, so.
That's pretty standard. Those are pretty standard declarations. Plus, in Wisconsin, by law, you are required to carry vehicle insurance. So there
Yeah.
should not be anybody driving out there without insurance.
And if they don't have insurance, I'm not sure we come in and pick it up.
Well, when I asked the question, one of the reasons for it is, as Linda suggested, we do have the upper and lower limits on the motor vehicle liability insurance. The general liability of $1 million is not a big deal if you just want to go that point, or else a $3 million annual policy. It's for your own protection, and it's good in that regard. So what I'm saying is that this seems to fit where you're an EMT, EMR at the scene, and the two paramedics are operating as paramedics in the truck or rig or ambulance, and they need somebody to drive the vehicle. Well, the reason for them wanting this information is John Stavanis a licensed operator in Wisconsin?
I think I
We
still
have
got
no
my
proof, well, we have no proof that you
Yeah.
have a driver's license, so this is where it starts.
Yeah, but you can get insurance without having a driver's license.
Well, you aren't gonna drive our rigs if you don't have a driver's license, so. And that's the difference, so it's kind of commingled, and your points are well taken here, but we need to go back and take some final looks at it, but I don't know that we should just drop it and let it go without coming up with something.
So we're gonna table the agreement with the County of Door and sign the mutual aid agreement.
If that's your pleasure, a motion would be in order, yes, sir.
I make a motion that we table the agreement with the County of Door and the Sevastopol First Responders, and that we sign the First Responders Automatic Mutual Aid Agreement.
Okay. I was second on that by Dick, okay. All right, any further discussion? We'll probably carry this over from time to time because it's a work in progress. See if we ever can't get it resolved. You okay with that, Chief? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. New business, Forest Road and Highway 4257 intersection safety concerns. I shared with you all a copy of my latest and greatest letter to the state of WI relative to the intersection of Forest and 4257, indicating that from the onset, we were on top of it. We expected there to be some activity from the state of Wisconsin as far as amending some of the, or putting in place some of the things we felt would be beneficial for those cars that were coming into Grand Tommy's before it opened. Well, I mean, while they're open, so. So we identified the deceleration lanes, acceleration, passing lanes, and everything to make it a little bit safer. And through the process, we, as the town of Sevastopol, came up with our money to have the interchange redesigned by a traffic engineer. And we were ready to put the plan in action, and we got no cooperation from the DOT. They had put on some requirements for purchase of additional properties at that location and put another 13-foot pass lane that really threw the whole project out of line. That made it no longer affordable for us as the sole sponsor. So one more attempt was to use some local road improvement program monies to get that accomplished, and at the last minute, that too was denied. We could not use it for that location. It's really funny in how, and I don't fault them, they all have their criteria, but they base it on the number of crashes, the number of injuries, and whether or not the injuries are severe enough, either cause death or dismemberment or whatever, before they're going to take any action. But this time around, with the addition of the winery, I thought it might be advantageous for us to do it. And the only thing I did differently this time around is I included the state representative and the state senator as a copy of my letter to Will Dorsey from the DOT Green Bay office. And it works, because 2 days later I got a phone call. And they're really interested in making it, first of all, is to get the meeting together and talk about the problems that we are aware of at that corner, and as well to see what they can do to remedy the situation, even on a temporary fix. So I did get a call from Will Dorsey, the DOT guy in Green Bay. We have the meeting set up for the 28th of this month on a Friday at 10 o'clock right here in this room. They will bring their people. I've invited you as supervisors, and also John Kaloji from the Highway Committee, or Highway Department, and Steve and his wife to be here as well. So at least we think we're going to head somewhere. We don't have a guarantee, but
Maybe the bridge workers would come down and work on it.
yeah, well, they're going to close the bridge or open the bridge the same day. So we'll see what we can get accomplished. Hopefully we can have a decent discussion, and at the same time look to get some emergency monies that it can be accomplished. I don't think July 4th would be something we can get done, but hopefully before the year's end, maybe by Labor Day, we can get those pass lanes and other things that we're looking at. So you're all invited, and bring your best efforts forward, and we'll talk about it on the 10th. At 10 o'clock.
I think another part of the problem there, though, is all the signage. That intersection alone has enough, but if the DOT thinks signs make the difference, I mean, when you look at County Highway C down in Brussels there, just add more signs, but when you drive through there at night, it's like driving through an airport with all lights on.
Yeah.
Those signs with their new reflective finish on them are really bright, and I think they deter the traffic more than help it. In the location where Steve is, they have, what is it, like 6 different signs going up the highway there. You realize that certain signs have to be in certain places, like stop signs on corners and location signs or turning informational signs so many feet from an intersection. But when they start adding all the other advertising along with it, you know, that certain places are up the road a mile or two, it's getting out of hand.
Did I see another new one up there today?
I don't know, it went up today.
I think there's one up there that says, Mr. G's, turn right. Has that been there before?
Yep, that's been there about 10 days, I think.
Oh.
That's a little further north.
All right, so anyone interested?
300 bucks.
You're welcome on the 28th at 10 o'clock. New business discussion action, renewal alcohol cigarette license application. Linda, you provided us with a list of all those that are waiting for their license or those that are about to be licensed. And what's the status here? Do we have some that are lagging?
We do have a couple that are lagging. Out of the 15 licenses that we issue, various combinations of Class A, which is for sales on consumption away from premises, and Class B, which is for consumption at bars and other establishments. So 13 out of the 15 are good to go. I do have 2 that require some payments. We are missing the filing fee, some player sponsor fees, and also I have a hold on one license from one of the vendors, one of the wholesalers. We cannot issue a license if we're notified that they have outstanding invoices for purchase of product. And then the other one, I'm just waiting on the balance of some player sponsor fees, $225.
Okay, what's your pleasure as far as they expire on June 30 and they would be good from July 1st through the next June 2014?
I'll make a motion to approve the 13 that are up to date and the other 2, if they fall in line in time before June 30th, then issue those licenses too.
Okay, the motion is to approve them all conditioned upon the fact that they all are current as of the 30th of June. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Question?
Yes, sir?
Is there any circumstances, Linda, where if the 2 facilities are not paid up by the 30th of June, what happens?
Well, I believe their licenses are expired, and instead of going through a renewal process, they'd have to start from scratch with a new application.
Can you
So-
let us know by number which ones those are?
But can you go and lock the door on the 30th, or?
Well, they can, I think they can stay open, but they can't serve any alcohol. They have to serve soda.
Good idea.
Well, my only thought is that we've had enough special meetings to accommodate the beverage servers, that I
Yeah.
would condition this approval on the fact that we are not having a special meeting after June 30th to renew it unless it's at a normal town meeting. So,
Okay, well, let's hold through that.
that's-
You want to make that part of the motion?
I would.
Okay.
Linda, I want to amend the motion.
Maybe I don't want you to amend my motion.
We approve, as John indicated, with the exception that any licenses that are not granted through payment of fees before the June 30th deadline are handled through normal business at the next upcoming town meeting, not through a special town meeting to address their requirements.
Okay, I'd have to call that. so
Next
I'll
regular
second that.
board meeting?
Correct.
I'll second that motion. Okay, let's go on the amendment. There are questions on that?
You don't see that as a separate issue? I mean, the collecting of these fees versus their license?
We have a resolution that all fees, taxes,
Well, some of the, you're talking about sponsorship fees?
All fees.
All fees.
Any and all sums due the town, the county that are not paid, license are not renewed as if there are outstanding invoices due.
You know, it's every year that these come due, let's see, every year at, June 30th, and they're done at midnight. And every year, we have a lot of the same people that are always late.
Pay their fees.
Yes, that are late. You know, if you needed a license to work at your job, wouldn't you think you'd take care of that right away?
Not if you didn't
I
want to
mean,
work.
before waiting until the 11th hour?
Okay,
So
I see the connection.
Okay, but the initial resolution that Chuck alluded to is some that we have on file, and all those have to be paid prior to.
Okay,
So it's not anything that we're creating new.
all right.
So let's go on the motion, or on the amendment to the motion first, which would say we're not going to hold a special meeting in the event that compliance was not gained by June 30, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, go back to the original motion, which allows them to have their license, provided all fees and everything else are paid up by June 30. That the motion?
correct.
What day is June 30?
June 30 is on a Sunday.
You want June 30th on there, Linda?
Sunday,
Yeah, that's fine.
They can call you at home and bring the money over and bring a bottle.
I suspect they'll comply.
Okay, is that the way you have it recorded for June
If
30?
not, we'll be in court again.
Hello?
The original motion to have a license issued, provided that all fees are paid up by June 30th.
No. All right, all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed? Yeah, it's carried. Took longer than I thought. Okay, the road work 2013, I provided you a copy of the information that came out of our road tour with a breakdown of what was happening or would not happen. And if you've been around our town, you notice that a lot of the center lines have been redone, and some including there are only one edge marking, I believe. They had a good start on the edge break-offs and also the potholes. I do have new dollar amounts for what we can expect to be laying out and for the application. We're rather limited in the dollar amounts that we can spend on our roads this year. The only one that needs our immediate attention and the application that we're going to give it will be determined by this board. Of course, we're talking about Maple Heights Road. That was that area that had the indentation in two different spots. So they're going to cut that out and then pave over the top of it.
That'll make a former county employee very happy.
I understand that, yes, okay. Anyway, to do it, the wedge and overlay with inch and a quarter hot mix would be the top of the line, and that's a $30,000 item. You'd buy a little cheaper with a seal coat. All of those would include the picking up and patching of those two areas. And if you want to see what we're talking about, there should be some painted stripes on that road. I'm going to meet with Thad Ash later in the week and see whether or not when they can get to it, first of all, and then see which would be the better application that'll last the longest. So I know that we're restricted on the dollars, and we'll try to get that done as cheaply as we can, or more reasonably as we can. Problem is, it's not a very busy road, but it's a road in our town and it does have to be given the same attention as the rest of them. So. the two areas that we talked about previously, the Harder Hill area where the fence, stone fence is infringing on on our right-of-way, and in fact, about 9/10 of the stone fence is on our right-of-way. On advice of the attorney, we're going to spend some money to send their surveyor back there to find out exactly where our right-of-way begins, ends, and what we can expect from the person on the corner. He did have a couple of suggestions, but he'd rather wait to see the final survey before we approach the individual. One of the conditions there is that someone would lose control, come around the corner on Whitefish and wind up in the stone fence and injure themselves, and in total bring a lawsuit against the town. The other one on Bayshore Heights Drive from Harder Hill going the other way.
Can I back up for just a minute?
Sure.
On that site survey that is here, it shows Whitefish Bay Road not constructed.
That's the part we're going to go and have surveyed.
Okay, all right, so that's, got it, thanks.
He wanted to know where it began and ended,
That's what I was wondering.
and nothing else. If that is no longer needed by the town, perhaps it'd be a time to get rid of that section. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that as well. Okay, and then Bayshore Heights Road going up the hill, apparently a gentleman living there was going to develop or do something with the land across the street from him. And in so doing, he found out that our road is infringing on his property. In talking to the attorney, this happens with regularity, and then you try to resolve it after the fact. I believe in my time here, we only had one, and for those of you that can remember, we had to readjust Apple Road by 25 feet and reconstruct it, so it does happen. So that's the long and short of it. I'm still looking to find out what we're gonna do on Forest Road east of 42. In the wetland area, we need to either crack fill with rubberized or something in order to hold it together, short of an overlay of 1.25 inches, which is gonna bring a lot of expense. Mickey Way sign, I was gonna bring it along tonight so that you could see it, but it should be going up this next week.
Wasn't Forest Road done not too long ago?
What?
Done, wasn't that paved not too long ago?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
And now it's in bad shape again?
Well, this through that wetlands area.
Oh,
And the other part was a chip seal, I think, from
Yeah.
Forest,
Okay.
from Matthew Road going in. And the replacement sign for Whitefish Creek and on South Cape Point and Geisel on East Dunn will be put up. That's going to be done by the Soil and Water Conservation Department. Greg Colthurst will do that. So unless you can think of something else we talked about that I didn't mention, that's the end of the report for there.
I think you did a pretty good job.
Well, we have to stay within budget and hopefully less than budget. And every time I make an appearance at the town hall, I hear from Mother Superior, so we'll do our best.
Yeah.
You total it all up, just out of curiosity.
I'm sorry.
There is a old roadway
that runs across from, that Forest Road intersection there, across the street that runs onto Gordon Road. That is, as far as I know, a Sevastopol road,
Yeah, it's Old Highway Road North.
an old road, correct. And I know that used to be gravelled regularly, and it's not been recently. Is that going to be gravelled?
Are you gonna tell me that you walk it every day and you want me to plow it?
Don't walk it every day, don't use it during the winter, but it is used, during the non-snow times. And it's getting pretty bad.
Well, that's why we left it the way we did. We didn't feel we wanted to spend any money on that road, and in fact, we were thinking of abandoning the road. The only shortfall on that whole thing, if you remember the creek and the bridge that was built, it was done with federal money. So that's the only thing that's keeping that road open. So if it,
I don't know if
if
dump
it
gravel
takes,
in there every once in a
yeah, if
while.
it takes us to grade it and put gravel on, that would probably be the most that we would do. We would never pave it.
Is it used for vehicles?
This is the road directly across from
Right
Forest
behind-
Road.
Right.
On the Zahn, by the
Might
Zahn
wish-
property.
Yeah,
To keep that road that's a roundabout around.
Comes out right in your colors.
yeah.
Chuck has got the answer. We're gonna keep the road as a roundabout around the roundabout.
Wow, there you go. Say that 5 times real fast.
Okay, we can take a look at it, but,
Actually, that might be advantageous to keep that, because if you ever have to put frontage roads in there,
yeah.
we already got a partial frontage road there, so. It's in our plan. If you were with
It's
it.
not much.
You've got an access onto the state highway, you don't want to give it up.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
actually a great road to, when you've got the parades going on, to
Yeah.
get around the whole scenario of getting into town. And vice versa.
All right. All right, we'll take a look at it, see what we can do, and maybe shave it up a little bit. Yeah, okay. Next would be the resolutions, and you have one at your desk tonight. What it basically turns out to be is I resurrected the old one, and true to form, I decided that I wasn't going to make any changes, although I had one supervisor who was a little reluctant to be a chair of a committee, but I really thought it might be well for, I don't want to mention any names, I thought maybe Dick would do
In lieu of that,
a good job.
in lieu of that concession, I would like to be on the Parks and Rec Committee to provide some expertise in that committee.
No, what I thought I would do is stay to where I was before, Dick. And I went back and took a look previously, and Tom Gurman, who had been there before and who actually you replaced, he got a pretty good dose of what was going on at the station. And I think he turned out to be a very decent chairman, and he was in a learning process.
Okay.
And I think we get to the point at one time or another, we get into a mode of pick and choosing, and we don't want to go here, we don't want to do that
Okay.
yet, but
I would accept that position.
give it a chance, and if you don't want to do it, I have people lined up waiting to be on there, so. The only other change would be the Park and Rec Committee with Dennis not going to be around here so that he could fill that position. And I put Hugh Dobner back on there. He had been there for a number of years, and then we took him off because he was our dam operator, but he could serve there without any real problem. I need a motion then to approve Resolution 2-2013.
Move to approve resolution 02-2013 TV.
There a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Richard, and you're on. All in.
Right, well, I would like to, well, if nothing, I'll sit in on the Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah, you're free to go to any
I think we
meeting.
need some guidance in that committee.
All in favor of resolution 2-2013, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Scott, do we have anything in the correspondence that was worthy of a second look this time around? I normally pencil them out, but
No, there was just a few building permits and
3 fire calls.
yeah, we had a fire permit, yeah. 3, yeah, they're getting pretty expensive, aren't they? The video subscription thing, anybody, John, did your group take a look at any of those or not?
The what?
Wisconsin Towns video.
The town's video that's available?
Are we, Linda, or Chuck and I forgot, are we good for the board review through next year yet?
No, at least
somebody's
one
gotta go
person
next
will
year.
need recertification next year, at least one person.
Okay. So they could maybe use that as a form.
I don't know, can you get certified, qualified by doing that one? Okay.
Well, last check, the answer was no, but
Oh, that's right, it was on a different, but it was through Wisconsin Towns though. You're right.
Okay. Anything else that you want to talk about? All right, items for the next time around. Let's handle the announcements first. Fellofer Brothers Car Dealership Historical Society presentation is on June 23 at 2 o'clock here at the Town Hall. Park and Rec set for June 26th at 6. There'll be no government in the town of Sevastopol, July 1 through 5. Is this the annual sabbatical to Mexico, or?
no, this
No.
is the week with the grandkids.
Okay.
You wish it was next.
It's not really a vacation.
Okay, and the dairy breakfast is July 7th, 6 to 11:30 at the Stotts Farm at 5418 Jarman Road. Northern Door Legion Fish Fry and Baseball Game is July 16th. Next Board of Supervisors meeting is July 22. Door County unit of the Wisconsin Towns Association is July 25 at 7 o'clock, hosted by Nassauwapi at their town hall. So I'm open for any agenda items you want to have for next meeting. I'm sure I'll have something to bring back on the insurance. We'll keep that thing alive for a while. I'll give you an update on what we're going to do with
You know, it might not be a bad idea to have a discussion on a couple of the roads in the town that might be candidates for abandonment. I don't know, just as a thought.
we can bring that up, and I think we have to do that in conjunction with the cost of abandonment. Oftentimes, the cost to give them up are
More than they're worth.
much greater than it is to take it off. Secondarily, we don't have the people that want to assume those roads anyway. so.
Oh, well, we can pass that.
Okay, any other items you wish to have discussed? Otherwise, a motion would be ordered to adjourn. Somebody, anybody?
Move to adjourn. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?